The Ottoman Empire emerged from the fragmented landscape of Anatolia in the late 13th century. Founded by Osman I around 1299, the empire's origins trace back to a small beylik established by Osman Gazi in northwestern Anatolia, near the Byzantine frontier. This strategic location allowed the early Ottomans to capitalize on the declining Byzantine Empire while absorbing Turkmen warriors and administrators fleeing the Mongol invasions further east. Under Osman's successors, particularly Orhan and Murad I, the Ottomans transformed from a small tribal confederation into a formidable military state. They developed the innovative Devshirme system, recruiting Christian boys from the Balkans to serve as elite Janissary soldiers and administrators after conversion to Islam. This system provided the empire with a loyal, skilled bureaucracy while integrating diverse populations under Ottoman rule. The empire's expansion accelerated dramatically during the 14th and early 15th centuries. The Ottomans crossed into Europe around 1354, establishing a foothold in Gallipoli and gradually conquering Byzantine territories in Thrace and the Balkans. Key victories at Kosovo and Nicopolis established Ottoman dominance in southeastern Europe, though the empire faced a temporary setback when Timur defeated Sultan Bayezid I at the Battle of Ankara in 1402. The period of civil war known as the Ottoman Interregnum temporarily fragmented the empire among Bayezid Iz's sons, but Mehmed I eventually reunited the territories. His successor, Murad II, continued the expansion, consolidating Ottoman control over much of the Balkans and preparing for the ultimate prize, Constantinople. The conquest of Constantinople in 1453 by Mehmed II marked the beginning of the Ottoman Empire as Golden Age. The fall of the Byzantine Empire as capital not only eliminated a thousand-year-old Christian empire but also established the Ottomans as a major European power. Mehmed II, known as the Conqueror, transformed Constantinople into Istanbul, making it the empire's new capital and a symbol of Ottoman might. The empire reached its zenith under Suleiman the Magnificent, whose reign epitomized the classical Ottoman state. Suleiman's military campaigns extended Ottoman territory deep into Europe, with victories at Mohacs and 2 sieges of Vienna. His naval forces, led by admirals like Barbarossa, dominated the Mediterranean and challenged European maritime supremacy. The empire's borders stretched from the gates of Vienna to the Persian Gulf and from the Crimea to Yemen. Administratively, the classical period saw the perfection of the Ottoman governmental system. The empire was organized around the principles of centralized authority, religious tolerance, and merit-based advancement. The Sultan ruled through a complex bureaucracy headed by the Grand Vizier, while the military was organized around the elite Janissary corps and provincial cavalry forces called Sipahis. The millet system allowed religious communities to govern their internal affairs, creating a relatively stable multi-ethnic, multi-religious empire. Economically, the empire controlled crucial trade routes between Europe and Asia, generating enormous wealth through customs duties and taxation. The Ottoman currency was stable, and the empire's workshops produced luxury goods that were coveted throughout Europe and Asia. Istanbul became one of the world's largest cities, with a population exceeding 500,000 by the 16th century. Culturally, the classical period witnessed remarkable achievements in architecture, literature, and the arts. The architect Mimar Sinan created masterpieces like the Süleymani Mosque, while Ottoman poetry, calligraphy, and decorative arts flourished. The empire became a center of Islamic learning and culture, attracting scholars from across the Muslim world. Following Suleiman's death in 1566, the empire entered a period of gradual transformation and mounting challenges. The traditional narrative of immediate decline has been replaced by historians, with a more nuanced understanding of adaptation and change. The empire continued to expand, notably conquering Cyprus and Crete, while maintaining its position as a major European power. However, several structural problems began to emerge. The Devshirme system gradually fell into disuse, leading to the decline of the Janissary corps as a military force. Simultaneously, the empire faced increasing competition from European powers who were developing new military technologies and tactics. The naval defeat at Lepanto marked the beginning of the decline of Ottoman naval supremacy in the Mediterranean. Economically, the empire struggled with inflation caused by the influx of American silver and the shift of trade routes away from traditional overland paths to new oceanic routes controlled by European powers. The central government's control over provincial governors weakened, leading to the rise of powerful local dynasties and increasing decentralization. The period also saw significant changes in Ottoman society and culture. The traditional palace school system that had trained the empire's elite began to decline, while religious conservatives gained influence. The empire became more inward-looking, with fewer innovations in military technology and administrative practices compared to its European competitors. Despite these challenges, the empire remained formidable. The Second Siege of Vienna in 1683, led by Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa, represented the last major Ottoman offensive into Europe. The siege's failure and the subsequent formation of the Holy League marked the beginning of a new phase in Ottoman history, characterized by territorial losses and the need for defensive strategies. The failure at Vienna in 1683 forced the Ottoman Empire to confront its military and administrative weaknesses. The subsequent Treaty of Karlowitz marked the first major territorial losses to European powers, ceding Hungary to Austria and signaling the end of Ottoman expansion in Europe. This period of territorial contraction coincided with increasing awareness among Ottoman elites of the need for comprehensive reforms. The 18th century witnessed the first systematic attempts at modernization. The Tulip period under Ahmed III saw efforts to adopt European cultural and technological innovations, though these remained largely superficial. More substantial reforms came during the reign of Selim III, who attempted to modernize the military and administration through his New Order reforms. However, these efforts faced fierce resistance from traditional elements, particularly the Janissaries, leading to Selim's eventual deposition. The destruction of the Janissary corps by Mahmud II in 1826, known as the Auspicious Incident, cleared the way for more comprehensive modernization. The subsequent Tanzimat period represented the most significant reform era in Ottoman history. The Tanzimat reforms aimed to centralize administration, establish legal equality for all subjects regardless of religion, and create a modern military and educational system. Key Tanzimat reforms included the establishment of secular schools, the creation of a modern legal system based on European models, and the gradual implementation of constitutional principles. The empire also began building railways, telegraphs, and modern infrastructure, while attempting to create a unified Ottoman identity that transcended religious and ethnic divisions. However, these reforms faced significant challenges. The empire's financial situation deteriorated due to expensive modernization projects and wars, leading to the first Ottoman foreign debt in 1854. European powers increasingly interfered in Ottoman affairs under the pretext of protecting Christian minorities, leading to the gradual loss of territories in the Balkans and the emergence of nationalist movements throughout the empire. The promulgation of the first Ottoman constitution in 1876 marked the beginning of the empire's final constitutional period. However, Sultan Abdulhamid II suspended the constitution in 1878 and ruled autocratically for the next 30 years. Despite this political regression, the empire continued to modernize its infrastructure and education system, while experiencing significant social and cultural changes. The Young Turk Revolution of 1908 restored the constitution and brought a new generation of Ottoman leaders to power. The Committee of Union and Progress, dominated by young, educated Turks, attempted to save the empire through further centralization and modernization. However, their policies often alienated non-Turkish populations and contributed to the rise of ethnic nationalism throughout the empire. The period from 1908 to 1918 was marked by continuous warfare and territorial losses. The empire lost its remaining European territories during the Balkan Wars, while simultaneously facing Italian invasion in Libya. The decision to join the Central Powers in World War I proved catastrophic, as the empire found itself fighting on multiple fronts against superior forces. World War I devastated the Ottoman Empire. The failed Galata campaign was one of the few Ottoman victories, but defeats in the Arab territories, the Russian front, and Palestine led to the empire's collapse. The tragic Armenian deportations of 1915 to 1916 remain one of the darkest chapters in Ottoman history, while the Arab Revolt, supported by the British, led to the loss of the empire's Middle Eastern territories. The empire's defeat in 1918 led to occupation by Allied forces and the Treaty of Sevres, which would have partitioned the remaining Ottoman territories among European powers. However, the Turkish national resistance movement, led by Mustafa Kemal, successfully fought against the occupying forces and established the Turkish Republic in 1923, formally ending the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire's 600-year history left an indelible mark on world civilization. At its peak, it was one of the most powerful and influential empires in human history, controlling territories across 3 continents and governing diverse populations with remarkable stability for centuries. The empire's administrative innovations, architectural achievements, and cultural contributions continue to influence the modern world. The Ottoman legacy is particularly evident in the political geography of the modern Middle East and Balkans, regions that were shaped by centuries of Ottoman rule. The empire's legal traditions, urban planning, and cultural practices profoundly influenced these regions, while Ottoman Turkish became a major literary and administrative language throughout the empire. Many modern nation-states in these regions inherited Ottoman administrative structures, legal frameworks, and urban layouts that continue to function today. The empire's culinary traditions represent another enduring legacy, with Ottoman cuisine forming the foundation of modern Turkish, Greek, Balkan, and Middle Eastern cooking. The empire's emphasis on hospitality, communal dining, and the fusion of diverse culinary traditions created a distinctive food culture that spread throughout its territories and persists in contemporary regional cuisines. Architecturally, the Ottoman Empire produced some of the world's most magnificent structures. The works of Mimar Sinan, including the Süleymani and Selimi mosques, represent masterpieces of Islamic architecture that influenced building design across the Muslim world. Ottoman architectural principles, particularly the integration of Byzantine, Persian, and Islamic elements, created a unique style that continues to inspire architects and urban planners today. The empire's approach to governing diverse populations through the millet system provided a model for managing multi-ethnic, multi-religious societies that remains relevant today. This system allowed various religious communities to maintain their distinct identities while participating in the broader imperial structure, offering lessons for modern multicultural societies. Similarly, the Ottoman emphasis on merit-based advancement and religious tolerance, despite its limitations, represented progressive principles for its time. However, the empire's legacy also includes the challenges of modernization, the difficulties of maintaining unity in diverse societies, and the tragic consequences of ethnic conflict. The empire's final decades were marked by increasing nationalism, communal violence, and the breakdown of traditional Ottoman pluralism. These experiences provide important historical lessons about the fragility of multi-ethnic empires and the destructive potential of ethnic nationalism. The Ottoman Empire's transformation from a small Anatolian principality to a world empire and its eventual dissolution provides valuable insights into the dynamics of imperial rise and fall, the challenges of modernization, and the complex relationship between tradition and change. Its history remains essential for understanding the development of the modern Middle East, the Balkans, and the broader Islamic world, while its cultural and architectural achievements continue to inspire admiration and study worldwide.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more engaging historical content.